Okay.
All right. Hi, everyone. Officially welcome to the National Catholic College Admission Association and Jesuit Education Tour Virtual College Fair. Very much a mouthful, but we're so glad to have you joining us this evening. We have some fantastic schools here with us today. My name is Stephanie, and I will be your facilitator. Before we get started, though, just a couple housekeeping announcements for you. Just a quick reminder, your microphone and camera are off, so our presenters cannot see or hear you. You can, however, use the Q&A button to type questions to our presenters at any time during our session together. And this is one of many different sessions happening. So please be sure to check out the website and sign up for anything else that you may be interested in this evening. And this presentation is being recorded, so you will be able to access it again at strivescan.com/NCCAA. And I would now like to turn it over to our presenters.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we kick off our beautiful slideshow that we've prepared for you, we want to do some brief introductions. I am Gloria Hill. I work at Loyola University in New Orleans, and I represent all of our College of Music and Media applicants and students. Very happy to tell you about Loyola and all the things.
And hello, my name is Beth Calkins. I work at another Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles. Gloria and I are two of the 4 Loyolas in the United States, fun fact. If we have time at the end of the session, we'll quiz you on the other 2. Just kidding.
Let's do it.
Hi, everyone. I'm Pam Pillow. I'm the executive director at Sacred Heart University in Fairfield, Connecticut. I oversee all of our full-time and part-time undergraduate programs for admission here at the institution. So it's a pleasure to be here with you tonight.
My name is Joe Giuffre with Duquesne University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And this evening I will be talking about our School of Music mostly and the audition process with that.
Thank you, everyone. Let's get things started. I will share my screen in the most graceful fashion. And I will also kick off the first slide. Once I know how to find the present button, it's down here at the bottom.
While Gloria's working on that, I'm just gonna say we didn't put this in our outline, you guys, but I think just as a kind of overview, just so you know what to expect, we're each gonna use our institution as kind of an example of how we treat the application process to fine and performing art type programs at our schools. We'll each spend a few minutes talking about our specific school, and then we'll get into a little bit deeper specifics about unique programs at each school. But again, you know, we're talking about our own institutions, but this is meant to be widely applicable. We each handle fine and performing arts application process in a little bit different way at our 4 institutions. So it's a pretty interesting cross-section. So we hope that you'll get a sense not only of our schools, but of the kind of realm of what's possible when you're applying to these types of programs. So that was my filler while you got your your presentation working. And then hopefully we'll have plenty of time for questions as well.
Thank you, Beth. I always need someone to set expectations. It's a presentation skill that I'm working on. So thank you for doing that for our beautiful viewers today. So again, I work at Loyola University in the beautiful city of New Orleans. We have over 20 different performing and visual arts majors in the College of Music and Media. So as Beth was saying, I do feel like I can speak to Loyola's programs, and I can even speak a little bit to other design programs, other music programs, and things that faculty are looking for in an audition portfolio process. At Loyola University New Orleans, our hip and top programs in the College of Music and Media are by far popular and commercial music. And our newest major. It's real. It's down there in teeny tiny white writing. It is hip hop and R&B. This is a Bachelor of Science. You learn the ins and outs of the recording studio, production techniques, and then also the business side of things with marketing. Okay, I'm kicking it off. Who's next? Beth.
Which slide comes next? So here's a glance just at a few of the programs similar to what Gloria just did for Loyola New Orleans. So LMU, offers degree. We're a liberal arts university, like all of us here. We offer degrees in the liberal arts, business, science, engineering, and then we have about a quarter to a third of our students who study in the fine and performing arts. And so I just kind of tried to make this visually easy, just to give you an idea of what type of programs would fall into these categories at LMU. So within our College of Communication and Fine Arts are these fine and performing arts on the left: dance, music, studio art, and theater. The performing arts do require auditions, which are recorded, submitted videos. Right now, they're not in person, since we used to do them in person, some of them pre-pandemic, but of course this works too. And then the thing that I'll talk a little bit more about in our next segment is our School of Film and Television. These are probably more unique programs among us. Some majors which do require portfolios, some which do not. And again, I can get into that a little bit more, but that's just kind of an overview.
And Joe, how are you?
Looking for the unmute button there. Things moving around. At Duquesne University, with what we have is our School of Music, which I'll focus in on with your application. So first and foremost, before you can come and do that audition, we want to make sure that you're academically accepted first, and then we have your name, and then we can reach out to you to set up your audition dates that we have here between December 1st through March 1st. So plenty of time between now and then to get that application in. Some nice scholarship monies to go along with that, but then also based on your auditions, other monies to be had that way as well. So just like the brief right now to apply, get the auditions in, and then we can a little bit from now talk a little bit more about the audition process and that sort of thing.
Okay, hi everyone. Again, I'm Pam Pillow from Sacred Heart University. And we do have academic majors in music and in theater arts, and we actually have a dance minor. But in fact, we do not require an audition through the admissions process for those majors and the minor. Instead, we have performing arts involvement programs that are part of our student life and student affairs department. So we offer band and orchestra, choral, dance, and theater as well. And we encourage prospective students who are interested in participating in these programs to audition, and we supply them with a grant or scholarship based on their participation here at Sacred Heart University, because we do feel that the students who are most engaged in our campus community tend to be the most successful academically. So while an audition is not required for the academic programs, the major and the minor, during the admissions process, students have until the end of their sophomore year to declare the major. They do have the ability to audition for the student life involvement programs in order to qualify for a grant. So a little bit of a different angle that we approach audition process here at Sacred Heart, but I'm happy to take any questions along with my colleagues.
Thanks, Pam. Very cool. Definitely want to talk more about the no portfolio, no auditions process. All right. The next thing that we kind of we want to pass the ball around with is what we are looking for, what our programs are looking for individually in certain programs. So we're each going to talk a little bit about those standout programs that we have, and then what we're looking for in an application or an audition. So Beth, would you like to kick us off?
I would, and I think I want my slide back. Can we do that?
Yes.
I mean, I can talk without it, but I think it's nice to see kind of a visual of the particular programs that I'm talking about. And as you've just seen, several of us offer music, dance, theater, and which of course LMU does too, but they're going to talk about some of those programs. So I'm going to just start by talking about film because it's more unique at LMU. Can you get my slide back?
Struggling. Screen
I'll
share.
probably find my copy of it too.
Here we go.
Oh, there we go.
And
Thank you, Gloria. I just want you to be able to look because it's a little bit different for each of our programs. So as we get into a little bit more specifics, and again, I'm saying it to myself because it's hard for me to leave these performing arts out, but I'm just talking about film right now. You're going to hear about the other types of programs. At LMU, as you can see, we offer 5 different majors. These are all the majors in our School of Film and Television. There are only 5. And sometimes students get really overwhelmed and confused because of the selective nature of our film and television production program in particular. Several of these programs are impacted, meaning, and they're actually some of the most selective and impacted programs that we offer, even more so than engineering at LMU, because students, it's really important to us that students have the opportunity to gain access to the faculty, the facilities, the equipment that they need in order to be successful in these programs. So in the application process, the portfolio is an important part of the application for the 2 majors that require a portfolio. So our film, TV, and media studies is more of a critical art. It's actually not considered a creative art, so that does not require a portfolio. Recording arts for LMU is kind of a unique focus on recording sound and music for film and television specifically. So it's pretty different than some of the programs that Gloria might talk about, for example. And then our screenwriting program is pretty self-explanatory, but there's not really an easy way to add a portfolio to that application process. So is your writing important? Absolutely. Is creativity demonstrated? Something, or do we want to see, a demonstration of your creativity? Absolutely. But a screenplay is a whole nother beast. So it's not something that's really easy to submit in a portfolio sort of format. So anyway, that's why those 3 programs do not require portfolios. In animation, our animation department is looking for demonstrated talent as a part of the application process. Those animation portfolios are reviewed very thoughtfully by our School of Film and Television faculty. They give us feedback, and it is an important part of the application process. So whereas, for example, in studio art, which is a more general art major where you can choose an emphasis in graphic design, multimedia, fine art, the portfolio is optional, which is also indicative of the emphasis of the program. It's more open, it's more broad. There's more room for students with different types of talents, talents which may be demonstrated in a portfolio, but perhaps not. Potential's okay, that kind of thing. So it's a little bit more flexible. Animation, they really are looking, again, because of the selective nature of the program, for students who have a demonstrated talent, and that really can factor into the application process. In film and television production, the portfolio is basically a 3-minute video and then a list of just projects and things that you've been involved with, just to kind of give us a sense of your experience. The production portfolio is a short video, and really what we're looking for in that program, and therefore in the portfolio, is students who can demonstrate that they are creative and passionate storytellers. We're looking for storytellers, visual storytellers. We want to get a glimpse of your storytelling voice, your unique approach to the creative storytelling process. And so that can certainly be done within 3 minutes. It doesn't have to be on fancy equipment. It doesn't have to be with professional actors or anything like that. But how do you tell a story is really what we're looking for. And so that's something that we hope that students can kind of convey within that 3-minute video. That's the production portfolio. So just to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking for in those. And I can answer more questions about that later on if we need to. But I think next we're going back to Joe to talk more about music auditions. I don't know if you need your slide too, Joe, or not.
Yeah, I think if we just added on there, a nice little touch, if you don't mind. So at Duquesne University in our School of Music, just to run down the line of them. So we have more than just a general music degree. We also have music ministry, music performance with a jazz emphasis, music technology with sound recording, music technology with composition for media, music education, and music therapy. With all of these, you will have to submit a portfolio, just like a little resume. In there, we're asking for links to your social media sites that you might have set up for yourself, a YouTube page with pieces of you performing a few pieces. Maybe there's a video of you out there in one of your ensembles and that sort of thing as well. And just multiple links to you performing your pieces. With all of these programs, there is an audition. These can be on campus or set up remotely for you, again, between those dates there, where you will be, you choose one piece and you will be given one piece to perform. And with all these, there is that skill set assessment that goes along with that audition. For all of the programs as well, once you're here, if you want to change in between them, that's fine. But you'll also have to do an interview along with the specific degree and those who are in charge of that, the chairs of that department per se. The only one that has that a little bit more extra onto it is if you want that emphasis with jazz. There is another jazz evaluation specifically for that, where you'll have a few more pieces to perform that as well. So again, portfolio, little resume with links out to you, you and your music videos. Then a live audition where you're being assessed for your particular skills. So you will need an instrument. Maybe that instrument's your voice. That's fine as well. If it's a few that you want to learn in the same genre of instruments, you're able to do that as well. What's pretty neat is if you reach out to our department and you want to have a one-on-one class with the professors now, is something that we offer. That way there, what I think is pretty neat about that is you get to see how they teach and they get to see your learning abilities, and they can tell you what you need to maybe brush up on for your audition. So if you want to get that set up, out to our website, to the music department, and we can get you in with a one-on-one class even before you audition. So again, I just think that's something that would, once you come in and have that class, your audition might be a little bit less nerve-wracking and things along that line as well.
Thanks, Joe, and thanks, Beth. I think it's my turn to speak. Pam, will you tell me if I'm wrong?
I gave you a thumbs up, but you're good, Gloria. Go
Awesome.
for it.
Thanks. So a couple of things I wanted, a couple of things that I wanted to hone in on with what Joe and Beth has said so far. Beth was really cool about relating what they're looking for in the portfolio or in the audition with how the program works. And I feel like you can do that with all of us. So the things that we're asking for are related to how the program is run. Simply put, I like to tell students, if you're not sure about which major to go into, if you are thinking about a classical voice major versus a singer-songwriter major, go to the audition requirements, and whichever audition requirements make you feel more confident, that's the degree that you should go into. So likewise with Beth and LMU, you know, do you want to go into the screenwriting program with film, or do you want to go into the digital portions of film? So that's a helpful tool. And I think something we all agreed on when we were preparing for this presentation is the most important thing that you can do. If you take away anything from this little presentation tonight, it is every university is going to be different, and you have the power to go to our websites and make sure that you know which requirements are for which degree and which degree is for which university you're going to apply to. So definitely do that, get your ducks in a row. I don't personally like Excel. I like whiteboards and crayons and things, but however you get organized, write it all down, because we're all gonna be different. On that note, Loyola is very different. We ask for pre-recorded video auditions. We ask for only live auditions. Some of our portfolios are optional, and some of our programs require interviews. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the interview process that we have at Loyola New Orleans and why we want an interview. For the 2 degrees that we require interviews, it's digital filmmaking, which is a Bachelor of Fine Arts, and the hip hop and R&B program. So for digital filmmaking, we used to require a portfolio and an interview, and the portfolio needed to include a film where you show your work, your style. But we soon realized that asking for a portfolio made things a little too rigid for what our program actually is. So our program is a few years old. We kicked it off in 2015, and people start off as photographers, as graphic designers. Some people do come into it as filmmakers or screenwriters, but by requiring a portfolio, we were really narrowing our pool down, and we want photographers, we want designers. So recently we brought it to only an interview. The interview is either on Zoom, or this year, we're back in person. You can come on campus and do an interview with one of our faculty, and you have control of the screen. You can show whatever it is that you want to show, or nothing at all if you're better at talking. And it's a chat with the filmmaking faculty to see if Loyola New Orleans will be a good place for you. Our hip hop and R&B program is very new. We are going into our 2nd year of recruitment for the program. And to be completely honest, we also need a portfolio for our hip hop and R&B students. We want to hear beats. We want to hear any music that's been creative, any recording artists that you've produced for. But the interview, our program still needs to be serious, and we want to know why you're interested in going into the field of hip hop and R&B. And if the answer is money, fame, and nice cars, that's not going to work out. So we need to know that out the gate. And our faculty are there to kind of set the expectations for the student who's applying, and also make themselves clear about what the program is. It's not hanging out in the recording studio and partying. It's work, networking, expanding your creative mind with electronic music. So yeah, it's cool. All right, Pam, I'm passing it on to you.
All righty. Thank you so much, Gloria. Well, as I had mentioned before, we do have academic majors in music with concentrations in performance, production, and music education as well. We also have a theater arts major with concentrations in acting and musical theater, and then we have the dance minor. But those are interests that we present on our common application. We utilize the common application specifically for freshman admission. So we encourage students to express their interest in a desired major here, but that doesn't automatically declare you into that major. So students declare their major by the end of sophomore year. And at that point, once you declare a major, our faculty will work with you. And in some cases, there is an audition process once you are a student here, or an interview process with the faculty, just to make sure they are aligning your instruction and your placements accordingly with your career goals. But what I wanted to sort of stress in terms of my presentation, slightly different from my colleagues on this panel, is the involvement opportunities to be part of our band, orchestra, choral, dance, or theater programs that are a vibrant part of our student life here at Sacred Heart University. We have growing performing arts programs here. We've really expanded our facilities for our students to enjoy and participate in these performing arts. And that is why we really stress connecting with our program directors and instructors during the admissions process for that particular programs. And we really encourage students to audition with those directors in order, as I mentioned earlier, to qualify for a scholarship or grant opportunity based on your participation. So that's where we differ a little bit. The audition during the admissions process does not take place for the academic majors. That instead is deferred to when you actually declare your major as a student here. Rather, your audition takes place to participate in those programs during the application process. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Pam. I am going to stop sharing again. We're getting close to the 30-minute mark. So I just wanted to give our wonderful attendees the opportunity to drop a question in the chat so that we are not just talking to each other the whole time. So if you have a question or want to engage with us, we would love that. Otherwise, we will keep going. Well, on that note, let's go ahead to some tips and tricks. I'm trying to make a trick or treat pun, but it's not coming to me. So tips and tricks for applying to performing and visual arts programs. Who wants to go first? I think Joe does.
I was like, I think like going back to like what I said before, going out to these universities and seeing, meeting with them, right now to get maybe a lesson from them. Key is to get yourself to these universities. I'm going to step outside of the audition process, for the next 4, 5, 6 years of your life, depending on the major. I think all these majors that we talked about are mostly 4. Some of them you might be able to roll into like a master's. You need to go and visit these places and see if it's going to be home away from home for you for those amount of years. Get into the schools, get into the facilities, know what you're going to be in. If you're not happy with the town or city that it's located in, or the size of the school or the distance from home, you're not going to succeed in your academics either. So what we're telling you here, even for our schools, it's going to be closely related at other institutions as well. Like she mentioned earlier, know what school has what. So get a little notepad, Excel or whatever, and put down your wants and needs out of a university. You're joining us tonight, you're taking time out of your evening. So I'm sure you're all great students. So we can tell you what we can do for you, but then what can you do for us? as a student, as a graduate, and that sort of thing as well. So my tips would be get that notepad out and make it about you and where you want to be.
Love that. Beth?
Well, I'll focus on film a little bit again, but this is true really in any creative pursuit, and kind of along the lines of what Joe was saying. Well, I have a couple of things that Joe helped me think about. One is that we've been talking so much, I feel like, over the last 18 months about the virtual opportunities that we have now, which is really great and true in general in the college application process. But I think Joe makes an important point too, that if you're talking about performing arts or anything creative, the studios, the faculty, the equipment, the vibe, on campus and in the program, all of those things are going to be an important part of helping you make the decision of what program is the right fit for you. So hopefully when you are able to visit campuses that you're interested in, you can go the little extra step of reaching out to find out if you can sit in a class, if you can meet a member of the faculty. The answer won't always be yes, but sometimes it will. If you can tour the facilities, things like that. Sometimes that might even be a part of the application process. Come sit in on a class with us, even if the audition isn't in person. So I would encourage you to, with your crayons or whatever, in Gloria's case, to really go the extra step to be sure, as Joe said, that it's going to be a program that fits for you. In film schools in particular, and this can of course apply to other types of programs, I think it's also important to ask about when you'll have access to the equipment, the faculty, the classes that you need. Something that we like to talk about, because Hollywood can be a tough go. It can be a tough environment. It can be a tough industry, but that doesn't necessarily have to translate to your undergraduate experience. So for example, at LMU, we talk a lot about the collaboration that takes place among our students. They know there's room for everyone to succeed, how they really become a team, how they learn how to work together. It's not a cutthroat environment where they feel like they're going to be competing for jobs someday. They know that they're going to be each other's coworkers someday. And so they really spend a lot of time collaborating and helping each other out. Another thing is, and whether that's, practice room space or whatever the case may be, those are important questions. How do students work together? How do they get access to the tools that they need to do well? The other thing that we always encourage students to think about, especially when looking at film schools or really anything where you're creating art of any kind, is what happens to that art. Is it your property or not? Some schools, anything that you create as a student at that institution is the property of that institution. And so that's not the case at LMU. Some of our competitors do that, and that's fine. That works for them too. But again, if that's something that's important to you, that you maintain the rights to your intellectual property, even as an undergraduate, those are questions that you should ask as well.
So glad you mentioned that, Beth. Thank you.
Tell me how that applies at your.
No, I found out last year that our competitors did that, owned whatever art you work on, they own it. I found that out last year. I was appalled. We do not do that at Loyola New Orleans. Scary. Pam, what are your trick or treats? I mean, tips and tricks.
That's right, my treats. I mean, I absolutely agree with everything that you all said, and I would try to connect with a current student. I think that's the best perspective. So any opportunity that you have to go to a class and connect with the students who are actively pursuing the degrees, I think is the best perspective that you can receive and intel that you can receive.
And I also agree with my colleagues. The creative arts is a very vulnerable, wonderful place to be, and you want to be comfortable there. Not totally comfortable. Vulnerability is not about comfort, but you want to like the people that you're making art with. My number one trick, as I already mentioned, go to our websites, go to the universities that you're applying to, go to their websites and make sure that you have all your ducks in a row, like I said earlier. Again, I just want to make sure y'all know we are nice, friendly people. We would love your questions. We can continue. We have some pre-prepared questions that we could get into. And we're going to share our information with you in the chat. All right, I'm going to go over to my pre-prepared questions. Y'all okay with that? You think there's anything else we should say before we do that?
Good with me.
Cool. All right, I like this question. What skills does a music media arts graduate need today that's different from previous generations? So the music world had a big change happen when COVID arrived on the scene. And yeah, do y'all want to, Joe, you want to talk a little bit about what you believe musicians and artists need these days that maybe they didn't need so much before COVID?
Okay, while Joe thinks, I'm going to just say this.
Yeah.
I think what we all take for granted in this room, especially in regards to this question, I'm not exactly answering your question, Lori, but what we already take for granted is that all of us work for institutions where do any of you offer BFA degrees? Or are they all Bachelor of Arts?
Our one BFA is film.
Okay. So my point is, or we're going to, I'm like watching people unmute, is that it already says something if you're considering, say, a Catholic college for your fine performing art, film, or whatever it's going to be. That alone means that you're going to be getting a broad, probably liberal arts education with a broad core curriculum where we're talking about critical thinking and communication skills and all kinds of things that are important and relevant in any industry, and especially in any industry where you have to adapt and work with people, which is any. And so I applaud you for considering studying fine arts, performing arts within the context of a liberal arts institution, because your ability to hone your craft or your skill is going to be just as strong, but just not as focused. You're going to be getting a broad education at the same time, which we may be biased in this room, but I think is a really good approach, because you're not putting all of your eggs in one basket, so to speak. You're going to have a degree that means something even beyond and outside of your craft. So that's not a tip. That's just, like I said, something that I think we take for granted because all of us come from these broader, types of institutions, but something that I think will serve any artist well.
For sure. Thank you, Beth.
Yeah, sorry about that. I mean, my boss tells me my face shows it all. So I was there thinking at first. You know who you are as an artist. You know where you want to be and become that artist. With society's say and pressures that are going to be placed on you to become something that you're not, or where you don't want to be, stay true to who you are. Stay true to what you want to become. If you make it big, if you have a small niche of where you perform, where your art goes, you just really need to stay true to who you are, no matter what your agents are going to tell you, make more money or anything along that line. As long as you're doing what you love doing in the end, I think that's going to be the best payoff for you in the end.
Wow, Joe. I don't know about anybody else in here, but I needed to hear that tonight. Thank you. Remember who I am.
We have a wonderful psychology professor who used to, like, back when I was a student, would do part of the parent orientation. And my parents remember him saying, most of your children are going to have a job someday that doesn't exist yet. And I think at the time they were like, okay, well, here we are. I mean, my job existed back then, I guess, but both of my brothers ended up doing things that didn't exist when they started college. One of them, I mean, these are just, I'm sure we all have these fun, like, artist stories. One of my brothers was a graphic design major. He loved art, but he didn't want to go to an art school. He came to LMU. He loved his art. He hated philosophy, but he got through it. And lo and behold, he has a really cool job doing product development for a major consumer electronics company. So he uses his art. The background's so important. He's still doing a creative thing. But this is like an industry that's so new and growing and evolving, that I'd like to think, it helped him to have that good old Jesuit liberal arts background, in terms of being able to apply a skill set to an industry where you have to adapt constantly.
Pam, I feel like this is your wheelhouse. I'm sure you have things to add.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But I mean, I really just totally agree with everything that's been said. I mean, I graduated with a degree in sport management, and I'm not in sports, but I gained the skills that I needed to succeed in business or admissions work or management work through something that I was passionate about. I was a tennis player, so I was really passionate about sports, and that's how I learned my business skills. So I admire all of you who are much more creative and musically inclined than I am. I wish I had more talent in that area, but I do not. But I think anytime you have the ability to educate yourself in something that you have a true desire to fulfill, and a passion inside of yourself, I think you're going to automatically be happier and have the ability to pivot when you need to in your career. So I wish you all the best on your applications, and just continue to explore, visit, make your college lists, and do your best to connect with as many institutions as possible. In light of the virtual age, panels like these and other virtual events do allow you to kind of expand out of your maybe core market. So it presents a wonderful opportunity to you all as you're exploring colleges.
Thanks, Pam. Yeah, the only thing that I'll add is the spiel that I've been giving lately is that, and I am a vocal performance major, graduated from Loyola New Orleans. Music was the portal that I needed in order to learn the additional skills. I went into the degree wanting to be the next Maria Callas, and sometimes I still wonder if that's out there for me. But in that process of getting my conservatory, kind of liberal arts, absolutely Jesuit education, I also learned that really I love people, I love marketing, and I love the art of communication. I love library science and musicology. I was the nerd going to all the seminars in the evenings with the music faculty. So music, it can be a way that you find yourself, just like Beth's brother. It can be a way, art can be a way that we figure out what we're meant to do with our careers. And you get to have 4 years of super fun until you got to go to work every day. Here's
hopefully doing something that is also super fun.
Right.
Ideally.
We have about 60 seconds left. So if our presenters want to just kind of wrap up, share some last thoughts, just wanted to let you know.
I think those were our last thoughts. Were those our last thoughts? That was it.
All right.
I have no more thoughts.
Then I just have one screen to end on. Just an official thank you from all of us here for joining us this evening. Students, families, when you close your window, there will be a link to a very, very quick 5-question survey. And we would greatly appreciate any feedback that you're willing to share with us. There are another round of sessions happening this evening, so please check the schedule if you are interested in signing up. And you will be able to find this recording as well as all other session recordings at strivescan.com/NCCAA. From all of us, thank you so much for attending. Presenters, fantastic job. I hope everyone has a wonderful evening. Bye, everyone.
Thanks.